Yeah, okay, hopefully that looks good. Put the headphones on so that they're right there.
Sound check.
Yeah, kind of.
All
It's
right.
just a good rule I learned. You just always do headphones. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got both channels.
Sweet. Sweet. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Keep in mind that I did that in a week. Like I know it's rough and there's nothing amazing, but it was finding the story in all this, and
That's
then
great. I love the edits. I love the music. Yeah, I love the story. I can sort of relate to what they're saying.
yeah, that's why I wanted you to see that. It was like, wow, that's
a couple of cathartic weeks I've had.
as I'm putting this together, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm going through. So, and the movie itself was kind of that, where it was just like trust and just it'll come, and so.
So what is it that you want to do?
What is it that I love? I love telling story, and I love doing things that move people. That's actually what I want to go. That's why I got into film. Is I wanted to do stuff. I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach people through this medium. I feel like there's nothing that's better than the best of art, the best of poetry, the best of literature, the best of everything, all music, all coming together in this medium. And that's why I love it, is I wanted to do stuff that helped move people, inspire people.
How does film help move people?
It can awaken something that you've forgotten. It can awaken that dream. It can remind you of ideals that you had. It can show you a perspective, a paradigm that you never had before, and give you a paradigm shift.
And?
How does film awaken people?
Or what? Forget about that.
Yeah.
What is it about telling stories that you love?
It just kind of comes to me. There's a lot of, like, when I'm in the process, when I'm doing it, it just kind of seems to unfold. And somehow I just kind of know, like, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And then after I put it together, I look at it and I'm like, wow, that really flows. And I kind of surprise myself. And that's when it's amazing.
What's amazing about that experience?
Kind of like what it said in the movie, just channeling it, like being in the moment and allowing something to come through me and allowing myself to create something. It's just fun. It's just fun. I always say television is supposed to be fun. And whenever I'm directing, whenever I have a set, I gather my people together, and that's the very first meeting I have. As I said, all right, everyone, it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have a good day, because I believe that if you have a fun time, if you have a good crew, if you have a happy crew, it will show up in the final product. If you have a good time making it, it will be fun to watch. And so for me, the number one thing is that my crew is happy and that my people are having a good time. And then they have my back, and then they help me, see things. I don't think that I'm the best shooter. I don't think that I'm the best editor. I constantly see people who are better than me. And so I would rather, like, oh, wow, you do this, you do this, you do this, because I'd rather just allow the project to kind of come together, because that's when it's the best, when it just kind of works out, when everybody puts their best into it.
Kind of like a conductor.
Yeah.
So what are you most proud of? What project are you the most proud of?
Right now, probably that one, because I just did it and because it's exactly what I'm going through. And it's a beautiful piece in the fact that there's nothing technical amazing about it. There's no graphics, there's no really amazing special effects. It's just a really small, beautiful piece that resonates with people. And I think it has a good pacing. I think it moves pretty well. But everybody who sees it comes back and says that they were moved and that they learned something, and it inspired me. And it made me happy, and it helped me to remember what it is that I wanted to do. And it was a piece that in my career kind of reminded me why it is that I went into this, and gave me a really big shift of like, wait, no, let me take a jump. Let me take a detour. This is what I'd rather do. I'd rather do something that has a purpose.
Yeah, so why did you get into this? You've talked about it a little bit. You like to tell stories. What else? I mean, what is, you look back to maybe when you were 15, 16 years old, what did you want to do?
I always wanted to do this.
You've always wanted to do
since I was a little kid, I knew that,
Tell me about that.
I used to actually put on plays with my little brother and sister, like with a tape recorder and stuff. I'd give them characters and tell them what to say and make little stories on tape. I love storytelling. I love entertaining people. I love grabbing people's attention, and it's a challenge to see how long I can keep it. And actually, when I was first making these kind of films, I used to throw fraternity parties, and I'd have like sometimes as many as 75 to 100 people at the house. And they would say, oh, come here, I was working on a project, it's 5 minutes, come check it out. It would be a 20-minute piece. And my goal was to see how long people would watch it while there's a party going outside. Because if I can keep your attention for 20 minutes at a party, I've got you. But if you turn and say, oh, that's great, or I love this, I've lost you. If you felt the need to congratulate me, I've lost you. You know, I wanted to hook them and keep their attention. And news is where I learned that skill. So.
Why film and not news then?
Because news was a great place to learn the art of storytelling, to learn what to cut out, how to edit, how to get to the point very quickly. News was great. However, the basis of news is what's wrong, what's bad. That is the foundation of news. If it's working right, it's not news. It's the suffering that is what gets, you know, I get that. And I have this policy of what's right with the world. And that's where I wanted to use my gifts. It's the same thing I did with news, but instead of pointing out what's wrong, I want to point out what's right, how things are working, how people can have hope, kind of remind people, because it's always going to be a hard time. There's always going to be something bad, but the point of it is don't give up. Keep on going. And I kind of wanted to awaken that in people and entertain people and make them laugh. And if you just make them forget about their worries for an hour or so, however long the product, you know, it just lifts everyone's spirits. And then when they get back into their day, they're better able to handle whatever the problem is. I know that happens in my life when I can distract myself and just generate happy feelings no matter where they come from. I'm more prepared to deal with my problems.
What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of failing.
Why? What's failure anyway?
Really failing is just giving up. Okay. As long as you don't give up, you never really have failed, because you never get it wrong if you never get it done. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're always growing, we're always evolving, but yeah, there's a lot of times I just don't take the leap. I haven't jumped because I'm afraid, you know, what if I don't make it the first time?
So what has been like the absolute just worst experience you've had in your career, and what did you learn from that?
The worst thing that happened to me was when I worked for Channel 15 and I was Chopper Mike. And it was such an amazing job that a lot of my friends at the time had me in their phone as Chopper Mike and knew me as Chopper Mike. And I would go to parties and speak to lawyers and doctors. And what do you do? Oh, I do the helicopter. Oh, wow. And the party would stop. And I thought, wow, what a great job. There's 6 people in the Valley in any given market. There's about 4 or 5 people that get to do that. It's really specialized. And when I lost that job, I lost my identity. Or so I thought. And it was devastating to me. And it was that point that I realized that I'm not defined by a job. I'm not defined by a title. I'm not defined by what I make or what my things. It's who I am, my personality. That's what's important. And that's what goes on. And that even if a job or something were to be taken away, you know, I'm still me. And I learned to never base who I am, not my pride and not who I am to other people, on what I do.
So who are you?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
Who am I?
Let's say an alien landed.
I know, it's so hard to...
I know. Let's say an alien landed.
Yeah.
Doesn't know anything about you, your life, whatever. Completely total stranger. Like, how would you sum up who you are to that if you only had a short elevator ride?
I am an entertainer. And I remind people what's good about themselves. Or so is my goal. To grab someone's attention, to point out what's good, what's working, what's right. And wake them up, inspire them.
Who inspires you?
So many people. Madonna, actually. I know that sounds cliche. But the reason I love Madonna is she always is reinventing herself. She's always popular. But the reason being is because she exposes herself. That's her secret. She's just really raw and real and authentic. And people love that because so much of TV is not real. It's not authentic. And when something is real, when something's really true, that's what's beautiful television, because that's what's beautiful. That's what's great in all human drama. We're voyeurs. We love watching. Let me think how to say this, because this is... I think naturally we're voyeurs. I mean, it started out with Greeks when they used to have men playing women, and then they actually thought, hey, let's have actual women play the role of women. And we got closer and better to reality with props and lights, and it just got realer and truer. And I think it was when the original Real World aired, the first reality TV, before it was scripted and really perverted, it was the ultimate in voyeurism, and for us to see what somebody else's experience is. And we love that. That's why YouTube and all these things are so popular, is because we're really curious how everybody else is doing it. And we just kind of we want to see how they're doing it, and we want to see that we're okay. I think that's the main thing, is people watch other people because they want to justify that they're okay, that things are going to work out. And it just, I don't know, we just always want to measure up. And that sometimes when we see someone else going through the same thing, it makes our trials not as hard. It makes it seem bearable. You know, if they did it, so can I. That's why I love reality TV when it's done well. And a lot of it is not done well. But when it's really done well, it's amazing. And I love the capturing someone's attention and then showing them something that, you know, they've never seen before. You know, somebody else's struggle, or I don't know where I'm getting with this. Can you help me?
Good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So what has been one of the most memorable experiences that you've had? Like, that you just, you know, in your career, the thing that just sticks out is like, this is one of my best moments.
You know, when I did the Madonna Sticky and Sweet tour, it was pretty amazing. That doesn't feel authentic. I mean, that was the coolest. That was like when I tell people on the airplane, what's the coolest thing you did? But I don't know that that's the thing I'm most proud of. You know, some of the things I'm most proud of are these award tribute videos I've done for people. They're small and they didn't have a big audience, but for that individual, it's like a time capsule of what they did and what a great person they were. And a lot of times it's such humble people who don't toot their own horn. And so it's really neat to kind of build something and show other people just how great they are. And I remember one woman who was a lawyer, and she had talked about this mentor that she had in Chicago that just, you know, gave her the strength to really become, and she was winning an award for being the top two lawyer, like the number 2 lawyer in the country. And here she was here in Phoenix. And so I actually found her mentor, looked her up, and wrote her, hey, your friend is getting this award, da 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 da. Do you have any pictures to send? And then once the video was done, sent a copy to the mentor, like, you know, and also found out her brother in Iraq. And so I gave it a copy of her online so her brother could see it. And it's that kind of stuff that I love. It's not real big and amazing, dramatic. And, you know, everybody wants to do cool stuff to impress their friends and their family. But I think the things that I'm most proud of are those little moments.
What makes you different from everyone else that your audience is probably looking at? What makes you different than them? I didn't say better. What makes you different?
Than other film, like different than
from the next guy or this.
Okay,
that.
This is what I see, is that I somehow, like, in your eyes, we can't necessarily read what people are feeling and thinking, but your subconscious can. And so sometimes when people say something that they don't mean, or they're feeling a certain way, you can see it in their eyes. And it's obvious to me. And that's what I watch for. And I used to think that everybody could see it till I saw so much go through the media where somebody's smiling and they have anxiety, they have hate, they have fear in their eyes because they're thinking, oh my God, I hope I don't screw up. And I thought everybody could see it, but I guess not, because so many people let it go through. But you just look at something and it looks awkward. And one of the things that I discovered is whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling shows up in your face. And so whenever I interview someone, I always tell them, you got to think something happy. I'm going to do great. I'm going to do great. Think a sexual thought. Think of a fantasy that you once had, whatever it is, that's a happy thought. Truly, truly. When you think that happy thought, it shows up in your eyes. Your eyes sparkle, you laugh a little bit more, and you just come across more genuine. And people believe you. They don't necessarily know why. They just like you. They're drawn in. As opposed to when you're afraid, when you're thinking, I hope I don't screw up, and then you just come across awkward. And I think that's the thing that really sets me apart, is I am fanatical about that. And when I interview people, when I talk to people, I will stop. No, we've got to do this again and again and again and again until I feel it in your eyes, until I feel like that was sincere, until I feel that was real. Because when people are real on TV, it bonds people. Like, people connect. People connect to authenticity. Even if it's something that's completely different than what they've dealt with, a struggle that they can't relate to, everyone relates to that true human emotion. And when you're real on TV, people are drawn in. And that is what I'm passionate about in TV, is that authentic, real, because that's what draws the audience in. Because sometimes I get real excited and I talk really fast. I always try to remember the audience. The audience is the whole reason we're doing it at all. And what would keep them entertained. And I don't like lying to my audience. When I do corporate pieces and it's like, all the employees love. No, all the employees don't love. Some of them hate it. Some of them think it's ridiculous. So let's not say that. But this is true. Let's go that. Let's talk about this. This is right. And so I really try to work on that realness. And it's not possible all the time, or it's difficult, but I think the pursuit of that is what makes great television. To try to be as real as possible. And that's why I love it. And I just feel like if I make something that I love, more than likely somebody else will love it too.
So what, if you had a crystal ball, what would it say is going to be in your life? Or like if you had a crystal ball and you could form your own future.
What do I want?
What do you want?
I want to be a great philanthropist. And I want to teach people through the art of film. I want to inspire people to follow their dreams. I want to inspire people to see things in a different way and inspire people to be happy. Because that's the real reason that we want anything anyway. The whole reason you want money, the reason you want a relationship is you think it will make you happy. But if you can be happy, then it doesn't really matter if you have those things or not. And most likely when you're happy, those things kind of come to you because we're all attracted to happy people, aren't we? I don't know, it's awkward to be, I'll be real, it's awkward to do this, so I feel sorry for all the people that I interview. I get it, I know it. But, yeah, because it sucks. It sucks, like, you're just thinking about that camera. And so that's what I try to do when I interview people, is get them to forget about the camera. Yeah, just be real. I'm an editor, I'm great at what I do, and my job is to make you look great. So... what else separates me? I don't know. Did you like the pacing of that? That's one thing that I just get it. It's the beat. It's like this happens, there's a space, and then this. And I just kind of like that flow of grabbing someone's attention and then just kind of keeping it. There's a lot of people who don't get that right. But that's negative. I don't know. Anything? What is it I ultimately want to do? What I want to do next is... I'm at a point in my career where I've been the assistant on big things, and then I've directed medium and small things, and I want to go to a really high level and just be really humble and be someone's apprentice. Just get to work with somebody who's really great and learn from them. That's kind of the place. I just simplify. I think a lot of people are in that place right now, like, let's go back to school, let's do this. But I just I'm in a place where I'm ready to just be humble and learn. Because ultimately, through this medium, I want to teach. And when people ask me, what is it that you want to teach? What is your message? I don't know, and I don't care, because I don't want it to be my message. I just want it to come through me. I just want to make myself in a way that I'm able to be a vehicle and I'm able to convey what people need. And that's it. And that's all. And that is my goal, is to put myself in a place where I can just have it happen. But it's whatever people need. Did that sound weak? Did that sound all right?
That was great. That was a good, you should use that one.
Yeah. What else would be good? The two purposes in this is, A, I want to cut something that's just the open of, hey, I'm an editor, this is what I do. And B, you know how sometimes when people apply for jobs and they say, make a video of why you want this job? Just for fun, I've always wanted to work for MTV. And so I want to cut this and say, I have always wanted to work for Buno Productions, the original production of The Real World. When I was in college, I used to tape an entire season of The Real World, and I'd watch it over and over and over and analyze how they did each shot. Notice when the music came in, notice the pausing and pacing that told the story. And I noticed that something dramatic would happen, and then music would come up, and it kind of allowed you to think about what happened, and it scored it, and it just made it so much more intense. And that's where I learned how to shoot, and that's where I learned how to edit, is by watching The Real World. And I just, I loved it, because as much as people would make fun, it is the ultimate in voyeurism and human drama when it's done well. And I'd never seen it done as well as when it was, originally done. Anyway, I loved it. I used to tape every episode. And I remember one time, one of my roommates was, making fun. Oh, you watch this crap, whatever. And the cable went out. And I came home from class, and they had popped in one of the episodes, and they got like 6 in, and they were like, where's tape 7? Where's tape 7? Because it's addicting. When you watch it, that's why reality TV is so popular. Everybody makes fun of it, but it goes on and on and on because people love that. People love being voyeurs. And
what are some of the things specifically the real world that make it compelling versus The Great Race or some other thing? I mean, what is it about that original production team that makes it different?
I think that people, professional or not, can see authenticity and what's real. And they may not necessarily be able to call it out on what it is. They feel it. They feel comfortable and they feel engaged, or they just feel awkward. I think anybody feels that. And that's really the art of it, is knowing how to speak to people's subconscious, to engage them, to keep them from feeling awkward and keep them tuned in. And I think the best way to do that is through something that's engaging, that's emotional, and that's real. And just really kind of expose yourself and trust and be vulnerable, because that's what people love. People love when someone's crying. People love when, like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? How are they going to react? Like, we all do it. When we see that moment and we're like, oh, everybody's drawn to it. Why? Because it's real and it's raw. And I think that's what people want. So much of television is so produced and so clean and so perfect. Commercials, we don't trust commercials anymore because, it used to be if you saw it on TV, oh, well, it must be true, it's on TV. And now it's almost the opposite. Oh, I saw this on TV, then it must be a lie. And I think that's because things are just so overly produced. And I believe that that's why YouTube did so well, is because it's raw and it's real. And it showed us that people are more interested in content than they are in quality. Because so many times it's shaky or it's this, it's not HD, it's not beautiful, the colors aren't perfect, but it's engaging. Why is it so engaging? Because it's real. And that's what people love and that's what people want to see. And I would like to do that, and I would like to help teach people. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes if I get too scripty, it comes off like I'm a douche.
I think that you've got some great sound bites.
Cool.
Through this thing. I'm glad to hear you say that, because I specifically chose to use a camera that's a piece of crap, and that looks kind of like a webcam for me when I did my thing.
It's more engaging.
Well, because someone said to me, why didn't you've got all these video people that and why would you do it that way? And you just described exactly my thought process and what I know. Well, what else do you want to say to whoever's watching on the other end?
I wanted to talk about the process that I get into when I edit, because I kind of thought about something. When I envisioned this video, what I kind of envisioned is something where I start off with something real engaging, fire engine, or, whatever I do to kind of like grab their attention, hook them, go for a little bit, and then stop and say, I got your attention, didn't I? Hi, I'm Mike, and this is what I do. And then really explain to them what it is that I did and how it works and why, and kind of teach people, how to film. Whenever I teach my clients, like this pregnancy documentary, how to shoot that. The first thing I told them is it's an art. And so you don't have to worry about getting it perfect. You don't have to worry about, don't screw it up, Just kind of be there and capture it. Sound is the most important thing. Because so many times, the most important thing is the sound. If you've ever been at a gym and you see the TV in the corner and it's an episode of Seinfeld, but you can't really tell what's going on, you just kind of see the people and you think you know what's going on, as opposed to sometimes somebody's watching something in the other room. You can't see the picture at all, but you laugh at all the jokes and you know exactly the storyline, because the sound is the most important. And so whenever I do anything, I always focus on audio. I get my audio, I lay it, I make it perfect. I get the music to score each point and each emotion. If somebody says something really engaging, and then the music backs that up and allows people to process it, and then I go on to the next thing. And once I've got my sound locked up and the levels are good, then I start working on visuals. And I believe that visuals, if I see it, I should see what I'm hearing about. If they're talking about helicopters, I want to see helicopters. I don't want to see tanks and stuff like that. And so the video kind of adds the next dimension. It kind of, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but it needs to kind of match what you're, and when they all come together and when they're all doing it right, it has such a power to move you more than any other one art form, because it's really just the combining of all art, or the best of what we've got so far.
That's good.
I'm an editor, I'm a storyteller. Hi, welcome to MikeChesworth.com. I hate that, like it's so dorky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, how many times did you do your video? Was that the first try?
Yeah, yeah, it was actually.
Really?
I just sat down and cut it, and then you notice I cut it, and the edits are really rough. I did that on purpose.
But people love that. People love the raw and real because it's true. And I think so many people right now, we've lost a lot of faith and we've lost a lot of trust. I mean, things that we used to trust and believe in, you could believe in the banks, you could believe in the government. Nobody trusts the government. Nobody trusts banks anymore. You know, we're at a loss of what do we trust? You know, religion has become such a mess because so much of loving in God is built on hate and hating each other and tearing things apart. That I think when people believe that they can trust something, you know, people flock to it.
So why do you have to introduce yourself?
I guess I don't. I just don't know what this piece is supposed to be.
Like, sum it up for me. You know, like, you know, just if you were.
I appreciate you helping me with this.
That's okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. My phone's lighting up here.
That's all right.
So just give me the summary, you know, of your career and what you've done. Like.
All right. Well, let me tell you my story. Where I started is
Yeah.
I started my career. I was working at a Walmart and I was pushing carts. And my dad was making fun. He's like, "Dude, you're gonna be 30 years old, you know, working at a Walmart." And I thought, no, you know what? And I had this theory. Everybody goes to New York and everybody goes to LA. Who goes to Idaho? Probably not a lot of people. And so there probably wouldn't be as much competition. So what I did is I targeted a TV station in Idaho Falls I decided that I would work at. And I dropped everything and moved there and decided that I was going to apply every single week until they gave me a job or had me arrested. Because I decided that I want that job more than they don't want me to have it. So I had kind of an advantage there. And I showed up. And my first interview, and the guy's like, "Well, I've got 3 other people applying and they have experience." And I had none. And he's like, "You know, why should I hire you?" So I got excited and I thought, all right, it's my first rejection. You know, I should leave an impression and so he'll remember me. And I said, you know, you could hire these other people and it'll be just another job. But for me, this is my passion. This is what I love. This is my dream. And if you hire me, I'll give you more excitement and energy and passion than anyone else you could possibly hire. And he gave me the job. And that was my break into television. And from there, I started to learn as much as I can. I joined the National Press Photographers Association and I learned how to tell a story. And I watched the people that were good and I just tried to copy all the stuff that I thought was good and just kind of model after that. I got a job at ABC 15 here in Phoenix and then worked there and worked at Channel 5 and did that for a little bit until I really got the art of storytelling. And then I started freelancing in the movie business, working on commercials and movies and stuff like that, and watching people direct. And the thing that I learned that I thought was the most interesting is so many times on a set, they would try to save money, little things, you know, cutting corners here and there that would hurt the crew's feelings. And the reason why that's such a big deal is because you might save $60 on food, but you hurt the guy's feelings. And where he spent the whole day with his back arched, holding the camera because it was a really beautiful shot, after that, he's like, you know what, this is all the effort I'm willing to put. And you do thousands of dollars worth of damage to the final product that the audience sees because you want to save 60 bucks. And so for me, I always believe that my crew and the people's feelings are the most important because if they're happy, they're artists. And if I just respect them and treat them like artists, they will build something because they love it. And if everybody, I want to create an environment where people can create and people can build, what am I trying to say? Yeah, maybe that's more high level than I really want to get into this. But ultimately what I want to do is I want to create an environment where people can create and just kind of create a safe... Have you ever heard of the 3 levels of motivation? It's 3 levels of motivation. Number 1 is fear. Fear is awesome. Fear is great. I point a gun at you, you do it right away. The problem with fear is it's not sustainable. I've got to keep pointing that gun at you. And as soon as I stop, as soon as I look away, you stop working. The next level of motivation, which is far better, is duty. People do things because it's their job, because they're obligated, because that's what I'm supposed to do. And duty's great because people will do it unsupervised. They'll do it when you have the day off. It just automatically happens. The problem with duty is people do right to a limit and stop. It's not my job. And they'll work all day and they'll let everything fall apart in the middle of the night and not call you anybody. You know, oh, it's not my job. And so the key is I base my career off motivating people through love. They love the project, they're passionate about it, they believe it, because when you motivate people with love, they'll do it on their day off, they'll do things that aren't their job, they'll do things without being asked, and it just grows and builds upon itself. And I think those are the stuff that's really worth doing. And so that's the point of my career that I want to do, is I want to do stuff that I love. And I want to do it because I love it. And I want to work with other people who do it because they love it. And I want to learn from someone who's amazing. What is storytelling? What is the art? You know, it's funny. Like, and this, I'm sure this happens to you. I had all these thoughts in my head, and all these times I tell these stories, and then I get here, and I'm like, oh, what is it that I wanted to say? But you know what? Whatever it's supposed to be will come out. Give me a job, someone. Anyway, what do you do? What you do?
I'm pretty passionate about what I'm about to do, so yeah, that's why I'm doing it.
Ultimately, I want to be a philanthropist. That's my ultimate goal, is I want to be a philanthropist. And so I just kind of figured this would be, you know, it comes easy to me and I enjoy this and it's fun. And you can make an impression on a lot of people. You know, if I'm a teacher, I hit like 30 kids. But if I make a good film, it can go on and on and on and on. And that's why I love it. But ultimately, I want to be a philanthropist and start something that helps people.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. I think I'm a good teacher. I enjoy teaching people how to do this. It just comes easy to me, and I just get it. I just get it. I just get it. I just understand it, and I think that I can convey it in such a way that other people get it. And I love seeing other people when they get it, and when they're proud, and they do something that's amazing. And I don't know. Now I'm getting shy.
Yeah, you said a lot, actually.
Really? Good. I hope I got something. Anything I'm missing? Anything a potential employer would like? Anything that's real? That's what I should really be. I should try to be authentic and real.
That's just the thing. It's like I'm not going to ask you the standard questions.
Well, that's good, and that's why I picked you, because I knew you would.
I'm thinking, yeah, if I'm watching this, I'm just thinking about like the environment in which someone watches it. Right? They're busy. They get your blah blah blah, and they get curious, and then they open this thing up and they watch it. I think everything that you said is good because it's not the same old. I have 2 Emmys and I have blah, 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 and 15 years experience and blah, blah. I think you definitely use a story about how you got into TV. I think you definitely use that.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it always seems to just kind of work out. At every point in my career, as I go forward, it feels like I'm at a cliff. And it's like, oh man, what's going to happen now? And it's a little scary. But something always happens, something always works out, and I go to the next level. And as I look backwards, it seems to be perfect. This went to this, went to this, went to this. And I'm like, as if it's like being orchestrated by something. But at every point, I hit the cliff and I'm like, oh God.
I know.
And that is where I am now, as I'm at that cliff and I'm like, oh God.
Well, it's so funny because I was today struggling with in my head, just like, okay, you know, I don't want to do the whole thing that I'm doing like that. I want it to be, you know, well filmed and well shot, all of that. And then I just randomly out of the blue get a call from you, like right as I'm like thinking of that.
Really?
Yeah, it was just random. It was totally random.
Well, maybe it wasn't, because you were in my head and I was thinking, I need to call him.
Funny how it is. So what?
And it was your video last night that really inspired me to do this. I was like, you know what? I'm going to have all the gear at my house, because I had a shoot earlier today. And it was just like, you're going to have all the gear, you know, tell him to come over. He's going to help you and just, you know, build something. So.
Do you, what would the people who've worked with you say about you? Like, from their perspective, how would they, you know, anybody that's watching this, if they were to call up, you know, whoever you're working under or with at your last project, or, you know, what do they say about you?
That they love me and that I have this ability to grab people and engage them, both on screen and just in person. And that I'm funny, that I make people feel good, that I just kind of change the environment. It sounds so narcissistic to say, I do this, you know, but...
But you're honest.
You know what? I can tell you this. Neil Schneider of Sonoran Communications was wanting to do these videos, and he was producing these award videos. And so I came the first day, and I'm like, I'll work for you, but we have to do things that don't suck. And he kind of, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you were so bold. But I don't want to do television that sucks. I don't want to do things that are boring. I don't. I'm passionate. I hate that. And so he allowed me to just kind of be creative, and I taught him how to care about it. And that when you care about the project, it's more fun to do, and that the audience loves it more. And so we were doing these award tributes on these women, and instead of being unbiased and being fair, we had our favorites. Oh, I like this girl more. Oh, I hope she wins. And since we didn't get a vote, it made sense that we could play our favorites. And so we'd do little special things on certain videos, or we'd add a little bonus thing, or we'd spend extra time to make this one really good because we loved the people that it was about. We fell in love with our, and we had our favorites. And it made us have a better day while we're working. It made the project so much better, and it was something that was amazing for these people to take home and to cherish for the rest of their lives. And so that was, really kind of special. And it's neat for people who are humble, who don't toot their own horn. It's neat to brag for them. I love finding someone who does something great, who's really humble, and then yelling what they do to everyone. Do you know how great so-and-so is? They do this and this and this and this. And they're secretly embarrassed. Well, they like to act like they're embarrassed, but they secretly love it. I mean, people love to have, anyway, I love doing that. I had a roommate, actually, the guy who lives in the guest house, and he had this idea. He worked for a nonprofit shelter, and they give these women cash so that they can go get a driver's license or all these certificates that, the boyfriends or the abusers take away. And he had this idea, hey, instead of giving them cash and then putting it back into the government, why don't we be able to give them a waiver so they just don't charge them at the DMV when they get the, so it just kind of keeps the cash out of the system. And he wrote it up and sent it up, and it became Arizona law. And now Hillary Clinton is sponsoring it for it to become national law. Because one day he was at work thinking, this is stupid. And this is a really shy guy who would never tell anyone. And so I went and I tried to tell everyone of his friends, hey, did you know what Joe Tapp did? Da, 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 and just kind of brag him up. So that's why I like doing this, is I like being able to highlight what's right, what's good. And, just, it's fun. You know what I used to do is when I really discovered it, when it really clicked, when reality, this whole genre really clicked for me, was when I was in high school and I had my own video camera. And I noticed that most people would film for home video like Disneyland or a birthday party, and everybody smiles awkwardly and waves. But the stuff that was really the most fun to watch years later is when you thought the camera was off and it was really on, and then you heard people fighting, or you heard, and it's just like, oh, well, what's going on? Or you just heard them talking about what happened through the day, and they were just being really candid and real. And it was just like those precious moments. And that's when I realized, wow, this is what's really engaging television. And so I used to make reality TV shows of all my friends. I mean, I have a reality TV show about almost every phase of my life. When I was taking this experimental college class, where in college you had one teacher that taught you all your subjects, and I made a whole reality show about the entire semester based with all the kids in it and followed everybody around. When I was a fraternity, I made countless episodes of the fraternity that I was in. I used to throw birthday parties, and I'd set up a camera in a room and call it Video Confessional. I don't know if you've ever seen any of my video confessionals.
I think so.
Anyway, that's something that, I'd set up a camera where drunk people could go in, and I'd hang a microphone from the ceiling, because remember, audio is the most important. And I would just open up, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to get, because that's when it's the best. And then based on that, and I'd get a little bit of B-roll of the party, I would build something that every time I never knew what it was going to be, but at the end it was something that was really amazing and engaging. And then I started doing more and more and more. I started doing them for Ion AZ, and I did the big Splash Bash. And I don't know, it's just, I like it. It's good. You never know what they're going to be, but...
Why don't you stop for a minute?
Okay.
Hey, I don't want it to be...
Yeah, you just want it to be real? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you the thing that I can do is, there are editors that can do more better. There are people that are better than me in each aspect, but I know how to make it real. I know how to make it authentic, and I know how to make it interesting and fun. And I know how to grab people's attention. How do I know how to do that? I don't know. I just know it. I just feel it. I go by how it feels. I just watch it until I feel uncomfortable, and then it's off. No. It needs to be this way. And, so maybe that's where I can help you.
Yeah, that sounds like where you can help.
Because that's the most important. Well, you know what? The biggest mistake people make in short films, independent filmmakers, is they cut things too long. It's really slow. And that's how a lot of people can tell, like, it just looks like a low budget thing, is just because it like goes and goes and goes. And so if you can take a low budget thing and cut it, bam, 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 and get a really good pacing, it looks really well produced. And if you grab someone's attention and you keep them and they're engaged, they forget about the quality. They forgive a lot of the mistakes, and it just kind of looks like it's on purpose. And you can make really terrible footage look beautiful, and people don't even remember that it was out of focus. They just remember, wow, how moved they were. Because it's the content and it's the pacing, the rhythm that people get into, and that's all the audio. And that's why I always focus on the audio first is, you know, I get it, this soundbite goes to this soundbite, and then they say this message, and then this music kind of underscores it. And then there's a moment where you just kind of pause and you can kind of think about that, and then bam, and then it launches into this thing, and it launches, and there's always got to be this wave. Somebody says something, and it builds, and it builds, and it crescendos, and then you think about it, and then there's the next one, and there's the next one. And it's about getting that rhythm and getting that right. That it just kind of, that's what makes people stay engaged. That's what keeps your interest, is that, you know, bam, bam. And when you miss the beat, when you get it a little bit off, when it's a little bit, it makes people disengage. They won't be able to say the rhythm is off, the beat, you know, they won't know. They'll just kind of like, oh, you know what, I got to do this. And they'll start thinking about the things they got to do, and they'll start thinking about their shopping list. And then it all falls apart. Because the whole point of it is to keep them engaged and get them to watch your thing. And so if that means cutting something that's 20 minutes down to 5 minutes, that's what it does. Then do it. One of the first things I tell my clients is a principle that I learned called kill your babies. And what that is sometimes when you're too close to a project, you have this shot that's beautiful, that really tells the story, or this was so engaging, this was such a great bite, and it is good, but it doesn't add to the pacing, the beat of the project. It actually slows it down. And so many times people are afraid to kill their babies, or afraid to lose these moments that they're in love with, and their whole project suffers. But if you can just learn, and this is what I learned in news, is the ability to be like, this is great, but it doesn't help my project. This is my focus. This is where I'm trying to get, and I can only use these things to get me there, and to really get me there fast, to get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. And I don't know, I lost my train of thought there. I ramble a lot.
No, I think that the last segment was good, that taking that part. You should definitely use that.
Cool. I want to say something about getting people's attention.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the things that I learned in news, is that when I was working in the news, I was cutting things for people that were not an active audience. These are people who are waiting for their show to come on. These are people who just finished watching something else, or maybe they're doing the dishes, or maybe they're talking to someone in the room. And so one of the things that I learned is you grab their attention with a siren, with a bang, with a crash, boom. Everybody looks up at the TV, oh, what was that? You got them. Now the key is to keep them engaged. Give them no point where they can be like, oh, and go back to what they were doing. You grab them with something engaging and you feed them. Tick, 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 tick. And it's that rhythm. Boom, boom, boom. And you draw them in. And for me, it's the game to see how long I can engage people, how long I can keep them going. And give them something at the end. Make it worth it. If someone's gonna, I feel like if they're willing to give me 20 minutes of their time, I want to give them something back. So it wasn't just wasted time. I want to teach them something. I want to give them something. I want to entertain them, make them laugh. Something that makes that 20 minutes worthwhile. And sometimes it means taking the 20 minutes and making it down to 3. Because that seems to be the internet attention span right now. Bam. And that's why I love really well done commercials, because it's telling a story in 30 seconds. We all have those spots that we love where there was once upon a time, this happened, action, reaction, the end. Bam, all in 30 seconds. And that's when it's really great. It's like, I always think filmmaking is like telling a joke. People say, oh, I want to make a film, I want to make a film. If you're the kind of person that can walk into a crowd, engage people in a room, tell a story, tell a joke, and the more you tell it, more people gather around, you will be an excellent filmmaker. You will make something engaging. If you're the kind of person that tells a joke and kind of butchers it and says it wrong and goes back, oh, wait, I forgot this, you're going to struggle when you're making a film. And that's one of the reasons why I love doing this, is that I find that a lot of times when I talk at a party or when I talk at something like that, I'll tell 1 or 2 people a story, and then by the time I'm done, this little crowd is gathered. And sometimes it would kind of freak me out, like, hey, sometimes you want to go really deep or really personal, and then the crowd gets really big, and it's like, wow, I really can't finish what I started. But I noticed that would happen. Like anytime I talked, people would gather. So it's like, well, maybe that's what I should start doing. But it's easier to hide behind the camera. It's scary to get up here because I never know what I'm going to say. Like I like when I have a script and I know exactly what, oh, bam, 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 and I can deliver it. But sometimes you get up there and, oh man, I don't know. And but it always seems to be for me, those impromptu moments where I say something and I'm like, oh man, that was dumb. And everybody's like, wow, that was so great. Really what'd I say? But I think it's that realness. I think that's the key. Authenticity, real, honesty. And if you can accomplish that in a video, you'll engage your audience. So what did I want to say about grabbing their attention and keeping it? Did I teach you that? Did you get that? Did you understand how sound is most important?
Yeah.
quality.
I did. I think that you've got great thoughts to piece together.
Really? I shot
How long do you envision it?
like a minute?
Then you should probably shut up because you're gonna look at this footage all night and go, oh god.
Oh God. I just want the right thing. You know how like sometimes you just kind of let it go and then something brilliant comes out? That's what I like to do when I roll. It's just like set the camera, just be ready, and then allow something to happen. You know, get my audio ready to capture it, the light is ready, bam, and then just allow it to unfold. And you know, that's the best. All right, well, I guess I'll watch this, and if it sucks, I'll do another one.
Yeah, watch it.